What up, everybody? It's your boy Sack the King up in this motherfucker, man. Now, before I get into the title of the video, what I need you to do is hit that subscribe button below so you can be the first to know and you can help the channel grow, man. Shout out to all my new subscribers. Shout out to my returning viewers. Shout out to people that leave comments and leave likes and share these videos, all right? Thank you. I appreciate that. You're helping the channel grow. One view, one like, one dislike, one comment, and especially one share at a time, especially subscriptions as well. But as you can see in the title, right, this is the question that nobody ever asks Vlad on Vlad TV. Out of the thousands of guests that he's had, out of the thousands of questions that he's asked others, out of the thousands of questions that people have asked him during the interviews, nobody has ever asked him this question or made this kind of correlation like I do when I hear some of his stories about his life. Because if you watch Vlad, you know that he sprinkles in, life stories of his own while giving the interview when it pertains to something that the topic pertains to. Now, let me premise this by saying this is no way an attack on Vlad at all. I will be the first to admit that I watch Vlad TV every single day, all right? I am one of the biggest fans of Vlad. I think he is brilliant and a master at what he does. You know, I put him right up there with Larry King. You could say Vlad and Larry King are 1 and 2. I wouldn't even be mad if you put Vlad #1 and Larry King #2, but they are definitely the top 2 when it comes to this interview shit. Above Lester Holt, above Wallace, above, Joe Rogan is right there too. He's very much right there too. You know what I mean? But Vlad is a master at what he does. He's definitely found his niche in life. Now, some of y'all can say, oh, Vlad's a culture vulture. Oh, Vlad's the feds. Hey, you guys sound like fucking idiots. You know what I'm saying? When Vlad has probably done more to uplift motherfuckers' careers up out the grave with his interviews or excel somebody's career to the next level with his interviews. You know what I mean? Now, you don't have to like the way that he questions people, but they don't have to answer. Like, that's what people forget. They don't have to answer. But this is a question that nobody has ever asked Vlad about. Now, we've all heard Vlad's stories. If you've watched Vlad religiously like I have, because like I said, let me say this again for the record, I am a fan of Vlad TV. This is why I named my channel Sack the King TV, because of Vlad TV. I've been watching this dude. Man, I was watching Vlad TV before it was even on YouTube, on the website. You know what I mean? This is how far back I've been watching Vlad. You know what I mean? So, and I once was on Vlad TV once for some flags that I pulled down and he posted it on his website back in like 2008 or 9. I forget what year it was, but hey, shout out to Vlad. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. Like I said, this is not a personal attack on Vlad, but we've all heard the main 4 or 5 stories. All right. He watched American Me and that told him he wasn't ever going to go to prison. He kicked it with BMF, and got flew out and all that. But here goes 2 stories that coincide with each other that I never understood why nobody put this 2 together and asked Vlad about this. Now, I'm going to play a clip of Vlad speaking to these 2 DEA agents that he interviewed, Javier Pena and Steve Murphy, about the killing of Pablo Escobar. And, after you listen to this story, which we've all heard 100 times if you've been watching Vlad TV, then you'll see where I'm getting at with this. All right. So we're going to play that while I wipe my head because it's hot in my house. I just got home and I just had to turn on my air condition. So if that's, that's probably what you hear. If you see me sweating, hey man, it is what it is. But let's go ahead and play this story that we've heard on Vlad 100 times. I can't show y'all it because I don't want to get copyright stricken or nothing like that. Let's just go.
See, I've never tried cocaine. I had a close friend of mine overdose and die at 23, which made me say, okay, this stuff is a little too hard for me. I'm just not going to touch it. You know what I'm saying? I know part of your career was, meet people, you know.
Okay, so we've all heard that story, if you've been watching Vlad for a number of years, about his friend that overdosed off cocaine at 23, and he died. And Vlad said when he went to the funeral, he realized that he's never gonna try that drug. Okay, so we got that story established. Now here's another story that Vlad has also told. He tells us the story about a best friend that he had, that he was trying to once be a D-boy, and he made an attempt to purchase a kilo of cocaine. But what happened was his friend ended up ripping him off for that cocaine. And Vlad, you know, also attributes that as being a turning point in his life where, you know, he's thankful for that because he doesn't know where he might be in his career. He might have went off and started doing that and ended up in a worse situation. And we probably wouldn't have some of these epic interviews that we have today, right? So my question is why hasn't anybody ever asked Vlad, right? Being that you've seen your friend lie dead in a casket at 23 off a cocaine overdose, right? Why, knowing that, right, did you decide later on in life, I'm not sure how much of the time frame it was, that you were going to purchase a kilo of cocaine, knowing the effects that it had on somebody else, especially somebody close to you, and if it all would have worked out, that probably would have been dealt in the powder form as cocaine, which somebody could have overdosed on, or made into crack, which is primarily sold to African Americans. And that could have caused them to die and overdose as well, or fuck up their life once they got addicted. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering, like I said, being that you've seen the effects of cocaine, what possessed you knowing that to later on go buy or attempt to buy a kilo of cocaine when you already seen the effects that it had on somebody that you knew? And that's the question that nobody ever asked Vlad. After hearing these stories, these same two stories over and over and over again, nobody asked Vlad, why was it okay? Why did you think it was okay to go purchase a kilo of cocaine if you already seen your friend in a casket? You know what I mean? And you know how much crack has destroyed and cocaine has destroyed people's lives, especially crack, which it probably would have been turned into black people's lives. Now, I'm not saying Vlad is a racist. I'm not saying that he was going to do this intentionally to try to hurt the black race or something like we know that the government has. But I always wanted to know, every time I hear that story, why, knowing that and seeing that, did you take it upon yourself later on to try to purchase a kilo of cocaine and try to be a dope boy, man? You know, that's always what I wanted to know. And I, you know, never been a guest on Vlad TV, even though I got a great fucking story of my life. But that's one question that nobody has ever pressed Vlad on and made him answer. Like, okay, we've heard these stories 100 times, but why, after seeing that and seeing the effects that it had on you and that family, did you think in your mind, okay, I'm going to go purchase a kilo of cocaine and not give a fuck about the same effects that it might have on the next person's family? Like, that's all I want to know. Like I said, this is not a personal attack on Vlad. I'm one of Vlad's biggest fucking fans. You know what I mean? Like I said, Sack the King TV is named after Vlad TV. You know what I mean? And eventually I want to get to doing interviews too. That's like, you know, that's one person that I very much look up to when it comes to this interview shit. Larry King Live, Vlad, Joe Rogan, people like that. I look up to that because I think they give some of the best fucking interviews. You know what I mean? Patrick David Bett as well, even though, you know, his ideologies about certain things I do not agree with. It's probably because he's a fucking multimillionaire and he grew up in a different era and didn't have to deal with or witness some of the things that I have growing up. So, of course, his mind is going to be skewed on some stuff. But he does great interviews. I cannot deny that. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I said, I doubt Vlad will ever see this. You know what I mean? But if anybody ever sees this and you happen to go on Vlad TV, please ask him that question at the very end of the interview. When he's done, say, hey, Vlad, I got one question for you. And then, you know, hopefully somebody one day asks Vlad this question, because it's something that I'm sure everybody else has thought about themselves. If you've watched Vlad enough and you've heard those two stories, which we've heard 100 of times. But, you know, like I said, this is not a personal attack on Vlad. I'm one of his biggest fans, but I just want to know, you know, what was the reasoning behind that? What made you think that that was cool if you already seen what it could do? With that being said, man, hit that subscribe button below so you can be the first to know and you can help the channel grow. And I'm out.